base class and derived class, right? Over here, first suppose we have established some class and we have incorporated the members and the functionalities, right? Now we have some new class, right, which actually has the same functionalities as the previous class. So instead of writing new class with already existing class, we'll just simply inherit the new class from the old class. So what happens that we do not have to write the lines of codes which has already been written as the functionalities, right? So the basic meaning of inheritance is code reusability in C++ in coding language, right? But if you see in layman language, inheritance means what? The whatever your ancestors have, you just inherit it, right? By genes or by wealth or what in whatever way. So that is the layman meaning of inheritance. But in coding standards, its meaning is code reusability. So we do not have to go through the hundreds and thousands of lines of codes to rewriting it, right? So let's see ahead. See, first of all, we write the derived class name means which is the new class, okay? Then we put the colon sign, then we write down the visibility mode, okay? Private, public or protected. See, till now we had only seen private and public, but now as we are going to learn inheritance, I had already told that whenever you are going to learn inheritance, then only this protected visibility mode or the access specifier will come into the picture, okay? Then after the visibility mode, by putting a space, we'll write the base class name. That means the class which has been already established in prior, right? So this is the example. Suppose you are creating a new class B from the class A, which is already there, right, in your coding. Okay, so this is just a basic idea of what is inheritance. Now let's understand the inheritance types. Fourth type is single inheritance. In single inheritance, there are only two classes. See, over here we have only two classes, class A and class B. Okay, in class A we have in private section data A, in public section set data function, display A function. Okay, and class B is going to be inherited from class A. So you can see that the syntax is first we write down the class keyword, then we write the new class name, we put a colon sign, then after writing the access specifier we write down the old class name from which we are deriving the new class. Okay, and you can see that if you want to put your derived class empty, that is fine. That means that the total functionality of the base class is getting inherited into the derived class. Okay. We are creating the object of class B, and through object of class B, this function will access the functionalities of class A. You can see that the class B object is object, and through the object of class B, set data and display A functions are being used, which is not actually allowed in C++ if you are not deriving a class from the existing class. But if you add on the concept of inheritance, it is allowed. Right? This is simply compile and run program. Okay, just a single inheritance. But to understand furthermore, what we'll learn first of all this access specifier. What if we write public, private and protected? If we write any of the access specifier, then what happened, right? We'll learn that first. So access specifier in inheritance, that is important. That means we are trying to inherit the class A, class B from class A, right? And what happens if we write public, private or protected as the access specifier while deriving the class? Main question which pops up into our mind, that if we are trying to inherit the old new class from the base class, and if we keep private if we keep it as private, then object won't be able to access the data members of the base class. Then what is the need of inheritance, right? If we cannot actually access anything. So through the object of class B, we are calling the function of class B, which is allowed. If you try to access the function of class A through the object of class B. The error is void A display A function is inaccessible because the class A has been declared as private for class B while inheriting it. So over here we have a method of calling, means accessing the base class function from the derived class function. So let's see that how you can do it. let me show you one table so you understand that what happens. We do something like this. Just a second. I use this Gigs for Gigs website a lot because the data and the codes or snippets whatever they provide are very correct. Okay, and again if I refer to some media, I refer my notes from some media, I always cross check it so that whenever I deliver it to you guys, there's no problem. Okay, now what happens when we inherit from the base class into the derived class? Suppose base class member access specifiers are public, then if you inherit the class in public by putting it public, then everything will be public. Okay, but if you inherit the class in protected mode, then the public will be converted to protected, right? And if you inherit it into the private mode, then every public data of the base class will be converted into private. Okay, the next is if your base class members access specifier is protected, then if you inherit class in public mode, then it will be protected. If you inherit in protected mode, then it will remain same, protected only, right? But if you inherit the base class into the private mode, then all the protected data will be converted into private, right? But if your base class members access specifier is private, then in all the types like public, private or protected, whatever access specifier you inherit the class, it will be hidden from the it will be hidden only, right? So by the object of derived class, if you try to access the data members of base class which are in private mode and you have inherited the base class into the private mode, then nothing will be seen, nothing will be accessible, right? So let's learn about first of all the types of inheritance. Let me show you the types of inheritance. We have single inheritance, okay, where we have only two classes, base class and the derived class. So from the base class we are deriving the derived class, okay. Then we have the multiple inheritance. That means we have like more than one base classes, okay. And that multiple base classes, from multiple base classes we derive one or more than one derived class, right? So for one derived class there will be more than one base classes, right? So by combining the features of two classes, we are creating one new class, okay. That is multiple inheritance, okay. Then we have multi-level inheritance, right? So over here it will be like a chain, right? We have one base class. Suppose we have a base class, from that we are deriving another class, and that becomes the base class for another derived class, right? So over here class C is first base class from which we are deriving class B, okay. Now this class B acts like another base class for class A, which is derived from class B. Clear? So this is like a chain, a level, okay. Then we have a hierarchical inheritance. That means it's like a top-down approach. We have one boss, and under the boss, we have multiple workers. Under them, they have workers, right? So it's like that. So there is a top base class from which we have derived uh, the classes, and from those derived classes, another classes are being derived, right? So those are called as hierarchical inheritance, right? See, if you from class G, if you have inherited class B only, and from class B you had inherited class A only, then it will be a multi-level inheritance, right? Not hierarchical. So from one class, if you are deriving more than one classes, and from those classes you are again deriving more than one classes, then only it will become hierarchical inheritance, right? And the last is hybrid, right? Hybrid means mixture of any more than like two or more than two types of inheritances. So you can see that we have this a single inheritance, right? We, if you incorporate class F, then we have multiple inheritance. And if you see class F, B and E, you can see and A and C, you can see that it is hierarchical inheritance. And if you see class F, class B and class A, then it becomes multi-level inheritance, right? So basically we have totally 5 types of inheritances, right? So let's see other video. Multi-level. Okay, we do not need multi-level. Let's see the example of base class inheritance, the first type of single inheritance. Okay, so in your practical you have 31, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35 under the inheritance, right? So let's see the 30th one. It uses the concept of single inheritance. Define a base class vegetable having data members color and member functions get data, which takes color as an input and put data function which prints the color as an output. Okay, color, that means you will take it in string. Vegetable class has one subclass named tomato having data members weight and size, and member function get gt data which takes weight and size as an input and put pt data which prints weight and size as output. Write a C++ program which inherits data of vegetable class in tomato class using the single inheritance. Okay, this is very simple and straight given concept. Okay, now the 31st uses the concept of hierarchical multiple inheritance and constructor in derived class. Okay, so let's see another video so you get another example. Let's see the multi-level. Okay. understood the multi-label. Okay, let's see the multiple. In multiple inheritance, there are more than one base classes. How we can write it down, right? While the inheritance syntax. Separate the base classes by comma. And for every base class, we provide the access specifiers. I hope you understood this multiple inheritance as well. So I guess I won't take so much into another types of inheritances today. What we'll do is